Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I just wanted to go over a question I keep getting asked. It's around the MLO feature in Wi-Fi 7 Asus routers. So of course MLO is actually built into all Wi-Fi 7 routers that are out there from all different manufacturers. But I've been asked a lot of times, do I need to switch it on or what impacts it will have? So I just wanted to do a quick video just to go over the overview again of what the multi-link operational actually feature is in our Wi-Fi 7 routers for Asus. But also generally, should you switch it on and when you should switch it off and things like that, and current situation of the actual usage of it. So as you can see here, I've got the Asus Rapture GTB98. So this is the Wi-Fi 7 router from Asus. So this one here, as I said, has the multi-link operation actual feature built into it. So if you do have a Wi-Fi 7 router and you're lucky enough to have one, then all you have to do is just quickly go into either the app, or if you log into the GUI, as you know I like to do on the web interface for a browser. I normally log in, and if you just go to wireless under advanced settings and then you go to MLO, you'll see that there's a feature perhaps you've not come across. So this is where it by default is actually switched off, so this is where you can actually switch on the feature. So as Asus basically say, the MLO feature enables Wi-Fi 7 devices to connect simultaneously across multiple frequencies. So basically the frequencies mean the bands. So it can connect to 2.4 gigahertz, the 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz. So it can connect to either all of them or just two of them, and which one, and it will do it intelligently. So if you are further away, it will probably use the 2.4 and the 5 together for more speed. Or if you're closer to the router, it might actually do the 5 and the 6 together to give you more speed because you're closer. So it intelligently actually adapts and everything. Right now you can't manually select which bands you want to. I think if you have an Intel chipset that's on an actual laptop and not built into a mobile, then I think if you go into the driver settings you can then select it there. But I'd advise probably not actually doing that, because sometimes if you do, it'll cause disconnect and compatibility issues as well if you move away too much. And if you want that, if you only got it set to 5 and 6 and it can't connect properly to those, so it's best to leave it to automatically connect and work out for you, because it is quite intelligent now. It's got to the point where it actually does do a good job. So as we said there, that what it's supposed to do is this MLO is basically improves speed, it reduces the latency and enhances the reliability as well, because it can connect at both bands. So the key features for these, basically three key features, is clients can aggregate their connections across different bands, as we said, so e.g. 5 and 6 to maximize throughput and stability. Client specific optimization, so basically with MLO backhaul as well. So if you've got a mesh setup with two Wi-Fi 7 routers, the Fronthaul focuses on improving performance for end user devices like smartphone, laptops and IoT devices, so all your kind of gadgets that you have connected nowadays. And then also the seamless roaming as well, so devices maintain stable connections when they're moving between bands or nodes in a mesh network. So this is what they call the MLO Fronthaul for clients feature. So that's for the roaming, and we'll come on to that in the next screen in a minute. So basically the requirements for to get this actual MLO, of course you need a Wi-Fi 7 router, but also you need to have the client that must support Wi-Fi 7 and MLO as well to utilize the feature. So as we said here, we've gone in here and you can go into wireless under advanced settings, but you can do this within the app. If you just look under wireless, you'll see the MLO feature. As I said, this is normally by default is actually switched off. The reason why by default is because some people have been reporting issues with compatibility. So the key thing is, if you don't have any actual Wi-Fi 7 devices, then it's probably best to leave this switched off, because you're not having too much of a benefit from the MLO right now, because only if it's a Wi-Fi 7 device. Your Wi-Fi 7 actual upgrade router will actually enhance the features and everything else with other devices, older devices as well. But this MLO is only specific for Wi-Fi 7 devices. So if you don't have any, I'd advise just to switch it off until you get a few devices in the network at home and everything else. And again, there's still quite a few that haven't actually, as you probably know, most of the cameras now are still 2.4. Most of your IoT devices are 2.4 gigahertz band as well still. So, and they're gradually coming to 5 now. So when they get to the 6 and then have this Wi-Fi 7 feature, I think it'll be many years still in the future. So at least you're future-proofed with the router anyway, so you have that availability switch on. And also, I did see a few comments to say, is it worth getting a Wi-Fi 7 router out now, because they may not be finalized the actual Wi-Fi 7 kind of features and everything else. I think with the hardware and everything, looking at the Wi-Fi 7 Alliance website and also their framework and everything, I think it is still a good time to get a Wi-Fi 7 router. It is still, as I said, it does bring a lot of enhancements and a lot more features that will future-proof. So if you're looking to buy a router basically, or router lately, and you've got that extra bit of money to spend on it, then go for Wi-Fi 7. Again, just be wary of the Wi-Fi 7 routers out there. Not all of them are the same, and I'll probably do a separate video on what actually the differences are between certain Wi-Fi 7 routers. So just be wary when you check the specifications on which one you're buying, and that's across all the brands as well. So as we said here, switching this on basically enables you to have that multi-link operation. So as I said, if you're lucky enough to have Wi-Fi 7 devices, so they can take advantage of that and connect between the simultaneously to all the bands that you've got on to give really fast speeds on your Wi-Fi network. Again, you can see I've got one set up here. The only issue is when you do set up devices on here, it will create a VLAN. So if you're using this in AP mode, or an access point mode, because you've got an ISP modem in front of it or anything like that, and you're just using it for Wi-Fi, not the full router features, just be wary the VLAN can cause, separates the network out. So again, that's not really ideal and could cause you issues there. You can see here, all you have to do is basically just go to add network, and you can see here where it will just give you more features of where you can set up it. So you can set up the name. So you can say here, this is the test network, and then you can put in your password and things like that here. And then also you can then set the Wi-Fi bands. That has only got the one option because of course you've got them here. And then also if you have AI mesh devices, you can then select them here as well. And it just tells you there what band they are as well. So if you've only got a Wi-Fi 6, it's only got 2.4 and 5. Or if you've got 6E or you've got 7, then you'll have the 2.4, 5 and 6. Again, if it's tri-band, it all depends. And you can see here that you have your option for the Wi-Fi scheduling. So you can add a profile here if you actually want the internet to be scheduled on and off and things like that. And then also you've got this important one here. It says use the same subnet as the main network. So this one, if you switch off, will be separated for network. So this is for security for devices like you're not too sure about their device, like IoT plugs and things like that. You've got cheap and they never update the firmware or any software on there. You can separate them out onto a separate network so they go out to the internet. Just be wary if you're using things like your different your AI assistant devices and things like that, and other IoT devices, they won't be able to talk to each other across on your home network because they're separated out unless you then rejoin them together. So it's probably best you just weigh out your options and see what's best for you. But most of the time, I'd say for most home networks, you can use the same subnet. It just makes things much easier for you. And then you just click apply and it'll create you a new network. So this is one way of doing it that you can see, but there's also Asus supporting a new feature. So we'll go on to that in a minute. But as I said, once you set up this network, this is actually a separate network. So you'll see this is a separate network name when you're searching your Wi-Fi list. So you'll see that there as a separate one. So it's a new network. It's not going to be joined in with your same name. So you'll have to set up your devices to connect to this. And again, as I said, it should be only really Wi-Fi 7 devices connecting to this. Separating them out is a good idea, because sometimes enabling MLO on the main network, as I said, there's been some feedback around compatibility issues of older devices and things like that not being able to connect. So if you do have want to try this out, then this is the best option, because it separates the network out, so you can then connect to your Wi-Fi 7 devices or anything else that can take advantage of the multi-link operation feature. So again, then if you go to network, as we see here, we can just load up here. So this will bring up all the normal network options that you've got. So you can see you've got your guest networks and everything else, and as we've gone through in previous videos. And then you can see that you've got the Wi-Fi 7 MLO network that I've set up here for this test. And then you can see some other networks if you've separated them out, like here. So this one's for the IoT devices. So again, this one's just for 2.4 and 5. So again, if you just want to separate them out, so your Wi-Fi 7 and Wi-Fi 6 devices connect to your basically your MLO network, and then your IoT devices and anything else that's older, Wi-Fi 5 or even Wi-Fi 6, can connect to the IoT device. Again, just make sure you keep that subnet the same, because if you separate them out, like in this one, if you click here and go down, you can then basically disconnect them. So just make sure that when you're setting them up, you have that option. So you can see here, if I go to the main network now, you can see it's got the Wi-Fi 7 mode. So you can see here that you can actually switch it, that should be switched on. And then you have the MLO Fronthaul for clients. So as we said on there, basically what this does is pretty basically it refers to creating a MLO, a backhaul from the main router to any satellites. So that means your other mesh network routers that you've got. So I think most people have said that they've turned this off for them, because they basically, the MLO Fronthaul for clients is supposed to increase your speeds and latency and improve reliability for multi-band devices. But if you don't have any, then it's causing some connection issues and everything else. So if you do want to do that, and you've got no issues, and you've got newer devices and things like that in your home, then yes, switch this on, because this will create a much faster network and more reliable. But if you don't have that many Wi-Fi 7 devices, just make sure that's kept off for now until you upgrade them all from like 2.4 or even Wi-Fi 4 or Wi-Fi 5 and things like that. Can you start upgrading those devices so it can actually start to benefit from more features that are built into Wi-Fi 6E and of course 7. So again, I hope you just found this useful. This is just a quick features that you can go into and actually play with. As I said, you can actually switch these on, have a go and see if they work for your current network. It won't really break too much anything, but just be wary when you're setting these up that you actually, when you're here, you'll be aware that some of these devices, older devices, might not be able to connect properly, and that might be the reason. So again, just before you do any changes, as I always say, just go into your settings and then do a backup of your actual router settings. You just save it to a file on your computer. So if anything does go wrong, you can just basically factory reset the router, and then from the setup screen you can just choose the upload of them settings and they're all restored again. So at least then you've got that, but always best to do a backup before you start changing anything. So again, I'll put in the description some more information around MLO and everything else, so you can actually understand it more. But I hope you found this useful, this quick video, and have a great day.